March the 23rd, 2019, we held a Labor Fest at UAW 848. President Chase Buie welcomed everybody to the hall.
I'll just give you a little backstory. Corey, Greg, myself, and now Richard just showed up. Went through a contract dispute that lasted for 5 years and finally got a contract ratified, and then we elected these guys to be our representatives under that contract. So I have a poem here that I'd like to recite to you guys that I think is very fitting for this scenario, and anybody that hasn't been a grievance handler in the past, I hope this guy gives you a little bit of an insight into what it's like to be a union rep. Who are these of lowly pay, with haggard look and hair of gray? They get no rest by day or night. They're always wrong. They're never right. They do not have a law degree, but go to bat for you and me. Though seldom have they been to college, they must possess the widest knowledge of labor grades and when to grieve, vacation pay and sickness leave, of overtime and who's to do it, of coffee time and who's to brew it, the how and which and why and when, and all the problems of women and men. If with the foreman they agree, then they're rats that have weak knees. If with the workers they try to cater, they're branded as agitators. Those who have to take this slop are called the representatives of your shop. So,
the Union Gospel, they always met with assistance from the Salvation Army. And that's where the term that Joe Hill used of long-haired preachers came from. Now, when he's talking about long-haired preachers, he's not talking about your pastor at the church. He's talking about the Salvation Army, which Joe Hill used to call the Starvation Army, because they tried to starve out Joe Hill and the IWW from organizing. So Joe Hill and his group would go into town to try to organize, and would be met with the Salvation Army band. They always sent the band out to try to drown them out. Now, I would assume during those days that maybe they had tubas and trumpets. I don't know what instruments they had, but they always tried to drown them out by playing the Sweet By and By. And Joe Hill outsmarted him, but Joe Hill was a great songwriter, so he wrote a tune to the song, to the tune of Sweet By and By, and when they would play that and try to drown them out, the IWW would sing and kind of used the Salvation Army as a backup band, which pissed off the Salvation Army. That was more. So the Salvation Army always told the union organizers, don't worry about what it's like in this world. Don't worry if you starve or you suffer, because you're going to get your reward once you die and you go to the sky. So that's where pie in the sky comes from. Joe Hill and pie in the sky. So let's do preacher and the slave, okay? Wrong end. Well, long-haired preachers came out every night to try to tell you what's wrong and what's right. And when you asked them about something to eat, they would tell you in voices sweet, you will eat by and by in that glorious land in the sky. Work and pray, just live on hay, and you'll get your pie in the sky when you die.
I'm here to speak on women in the labor movement. So, as you know, generation upon generation of women had been subjugated as possessions forever. And we have hard fought for our rights today, but we have a long way still to go to achieve equality. As Emmeline Pankhurst said, we have to free half of the human race, the women, so that they can help free the other half.
Right on.
We must achieve equality on an intersectional level. As Emma Watson says, we must stop defining each other by what we are not and start defining ourselves by who we are.
Yeah. Right on.
And I skipped this. So there are many parts of a person, many pieces that make us whole, and one of those pieces is the time, and if we're lucky, the passion we get to put into our work. Our work that determines our living conditions, our health, our mental well-being. This is one of the greatest benefits to being a union member. Despite a society lagging behind, unions and union members push progressive ideals. We fight for working people's rights, and women benefit by joining the fight. Women are now nearly half of all union membership. In comparison to non-union women, we earn 30% more and are 25% more likely to have access to health care. As women move into leadership, our spaces are becoming more welcoming. We are growing as a whole again. Young workers are joining at a higher rate. I know that I would not be here today if I hadn't joined Unite Here and organized my workplace. If I were still moving day to day in a survival state, if I hadn't had the support, trainings, and education by labor leaders and friends, I would never have had the opportunities I have today. We must continue to build each other up, educate others about being in a union, and create welcoming spaces for these conversations. After all, solidarity is what we want. We do not want to find fault with each other, but to solidify our forces and to say to each other, we must be together, our masters are joined, and we must do the same thing. Mother Jones, thank you.